Good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, or good morning, or whenever you do see this vlog, my weekly vlog. And, listen, I won't take up much of your time, but I do want to talk a little bit more than I have this morning and other places about the Dolphins and their penalties for tampering and other issues that they've been charged with or found guilty of by the NFL. Excuse me for trying to fix that. Look, the NFL notified the Dolphins Tuesday that the team's going to be stripped of its 2023 first-round draft pick. They're going to be fined $1.5 million and a third-round pick, by the way, in 2024, I believe. And also, Stephen Ross is not permitted to come around the team for, I believe, a year. All of this stemming around multiple violations of tampering. This is some of the most egregious tampering that I've seen in forever. Everybody seems to think that this is the tampering was involving just Tom Brady this past offseason, as there was talk about after he retired, that he may come out of retirement and go to the Dolphins. And they would have owed compensation. He still belonged to the Buccaneers at that point. But guys, this goes back to when he was a part of, first of all, even this year, they were talking to him during the season about joining the Dolphins. Again, how much Brady's responsible here is also up for debate, but I'm not going to bring that into this conversation. But they also were talking to him in 2019 and 2020 when he was still a member of the New England Patriots with a contract. They were talking to Sean Payton before he resigned this past offseason as coach of the Saints. He had a contract with that team. Tom Brady had a contract with the Patriots. Tom Brady had a contract with the Buccaneers. Retired or not. And by the way, he was speaking with them before he retired and before the season was over. So they've been penalized enough. They lose a first-round draft pick next year, but they've still got one, I think, from the 49ers. So it's not like you need to penalize these guys multiple first-round picks. You need to level some real monetary fines because $1.5 million to Stephen Ross is nothing. You need to start getting up into 10, 20, $50 million for these guys if they're not going to toe the line. You need to consider, and again, this is a slippery slope, so it needs to be very, very closely monitored and written, that if you're going to be approved to be an owner of a National Football League team or any major sports team, you are required to act within a certain way in dealing with league matters. Now, don't equate Robert Kraft. I've heard a lot of people. You can compare Daniel Snyder's situation. That's fine because it's wrapped up with the team and it's ugly. But please don't bring like Robert Kraft's, visit to a massage parlor into this. This isn't the same type of thing. The things that Stephen Ross has done, to me, it even outweighs the things that have gone on with Daniel Snyder and the Redskins. Now, that's a different situation because he was fostering a hostile work environment. Now he's been brought into it himself. The league may be forced to, Goodell said he can't force owners to sell the team. Well, the owners get together and vote owners in before they ever can join the league. I don't know why they can't remove guys who are this blatantly abusing the privilege of being a National Football League owner. Two different situations with Daniel Snyder and Stephen Ross, but equally as ugly in my mind. And by the way, I haven't even touched on the fact that Stephen Ross fired his coach basically because he refused to go out and lose football games. For a league that has tied itself and put itself directly in bed with major gambling operations like DraftKings, etc., to have owners basically demanding their coaches go out and lose games, not a good look. Then you're out there tampering with other, and listen, limited partner Bruce Beal was involved in this as well. But this is Stephen Ross over and over again. This guy has not been a good owner in this league since he took over this team. Actually, it's funny. He's only suspended through October 17th, so that isn't even that big a deal. He should be suspended for 2 years, a year at least. Or find a way to take this team away from him. You really want to punish these owners like Daniel Snyder, Stephen Ross. They did it to Donald Sterling in the NBA. They found a way to get his team away from him. It can happen. It needs to be done the right way, but it can happen. And yeah, I know you're going to talk about, will the player and the coach have something to do with this? Sean Payton, Tom Brady, different conversation. And we can have it later on. Maybe I'll do a vlog about that. But these owners, they've got to understand that they have to abide by a set of rules or they're going to be removed. It can happen. George Steinbrenner nearly lost the New York Yankees when he was paying Howie Spira to get dirt on Dave Winfield in the early 90s. And actually him getting suspended for the 2 years that he was, I believe it was 2 years, allowed the Yankees to actually focus on baseball and have baseball people like Gene Michael and Buck Showalter build what became the Yankee dynasty that George Steinbrenner and Joe Torre were able to take advantage of in the mid to late 90s. Maybe that'll happen here. Stephen Ross needs to be suspended longer than a couple of months for the Dodgers, for the Dolphins to be able to take advantage of this. The NFL could do this. For Roger Goodell to wash his hands of this, basically, when it comes to removing owners. And he said he wouldn't remove Daniel Snyder, so I doubt he's going to say he can remove Stephen Ross. But there needs to be a process in place where owners who are running roughshod over league rules year after year, and I would say it would apply to my team too, although, again, the things they were accused of through the years I don't think really match what we're looking at here. There needs to be a process in place, and you got to be careful. I understand that it's a slippery slope. You can't just remove guys because you don't like them or because they lose year after year, unless they're pocketing a bunch of money and giving nothing back to the community. But you can't allow this type of thing. And you know what? If the owners, again, every league, if I want an NFL team, I've got to show my business plan. I've got to show where the money comes from. I've got to show good faith in how I plan on operating that franchise. And every owner has to vote on it. And depending on the league, you need a majority vote. You need a 75% vote. So there ought to be something in place where you can remove owners for malfeasance, whether it be constantly flaunting rules like Stephen Ross or fostering a hostile workplace like Daniel Snyder. Now, I don't think you can remove people just for incompetence, but you need to be able to. The league needs to have a process in place so that this won't continue to happen. Because what you're doing to the Dolphins isn't nearly enough. 1 first-round draft pick and a 3rd round don't come around till October 17th. $1 million, which, he probably spends, on gas money for his yacht in Miami, South Beach. Let's get real. Let's penalize these guys for real. Let's threaten them. Here's number 1. You're losing 2-3 draft choices here. You're going to be penalized, $25 or $50 million. You're going to be suspended for 2 years. And you get it one time. After that, you're gone. There'll be a vote of the league owners, and if you lose it, you lose your franchise. That's what needs to start happening. Let's crack down. We need some law and order in the NFL, especially. You got the Deshaun Watson thing sitting out there. You got this thing with Flores is involved in it. You got the Flores situation, a lawsuit against the league. You got the Stephen Ross situation. You got the Daniel Snyder situation. Takes away from some great product on the field, doesn't it, folks? Clean up your house, Roger Goodell. Put some meat in the fines and the penalties you lay on these guys so these things won't keep happening. More on the Deshaun Watson thing to come. Let's focus on owners as well. Keith Angle for TGI Sports Talk. Hope you have a great weekend.